What's good? It's your boy Fanon. I was going to make a video just about the updated fight with Adrian Broner and Jesse Vargas. But as I was doing so, my phone exploded with a bunch of news about Canelo Alvarez popping dirty. Popping dirty. And so there was a statement that was released by Golden Boy. I'll go through that. And then also I'm going to talk about the Adrian Broner having Omar Figueroa replaced by Jesse Vargas at a catchweight at 144. Do a quick video about these and, get it moving. So first, thanks everybody for, watching the video. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for the live streams that we do. I'm trying to make sure, that if you're able to hit the bell icon, then you'll get notified of the super chats we do, which is a real-time conversation where, we can talk boxing, anything you guys want to talk about, please do that. Check me out on Twitter. And here we go, man. It's a statement by Golden Boy Promotions. As part of a voluntary testing program that Canelo Alvarez insisted on ahead of the May 5th fight, one of his results came back positive for trace amounts of clenbuterol, consistent with meat contamination that has impacted dozens of athletes in Mexico over the last years. As Daniel Eschner, director of SMRTL, the WADA-accredited lab that conducted the test, stated in his letter today, these values are within the range of what is expected from meat contamination. Upon receiving this information, Golden Boy immediately notified the Nevada State Athletic Commission and Gennady Golovkin's promoter, Tom Loeffler. As has been planned, Canelo will automatically move his training camp from Mexico to the United States and will submit to any number and variety of additional tests that VADA deems necessary ahead of and after May 5th. Added Canelo, I am an athlete who represents the sport, and this surprises me and bothers me because it has never happened to me. I will submit to all the tests that are required to clarify this embarrassing situation, and I trust at the end the truth will prevail. Canelo has been tested clean dozens of times over the course of his previous 12 fights. Yeah. Got popped dirty. And I ain't feeling sorry for you, homie. Okay, I'm not quite sure what the situation is as far as meat contamination in Mexico goes, but daggone well, if you are an athlete, you're responsible for what you put in your body. And all of this stuff that they're talking in this article is, in one ear and out the other as far as I'm concerned. First of all, I don't care if he asked and insisted for the testing ahead of the Gennady Golovkin fight. Hey, man, whatever. You tested positive for something and, hey, there should be ramifications to that. But, there won't be because there's a lot of money on the table. And, Gennady Golovkin is going to go forward with the fight and it's going to be what it's going to be. But, from here forward, people are going to be asking questions about whether or not he'd been, and rightfully so, about whether Canelo Alvarez is using performance-enhancing drugs or what have you. The fact that, that it's common and has happened to dozens of athletes in Mexico does not necessarily mean that dozens of athletes in Mexico were not juicing. I mean, hey, this is the 2000s. This is the world we live in where there's a lot of people that suspect that all athletes, are on one thing or another, and accusations of people being on drugs or, performance enhancing drugs are thrown around real easy. So, I'd hope that, that of course a close eye is going to be watched, kept on this. But, at the end of the day, man, it's going to be a much ado about nothing. As we know, Luis Nery had tested positive. I'm not sure if it was for clenbuterol or what it was, but it was something else. Luis Nery, who fought Yamanaka and beat Yamanaka for the, super bantamweight title. I believe it's the super bantamweight. If it's not super bantamweight, super flyweight, something. Some little weight class who I'm not researching right now to make sure I put it in its proper place. No disrespect. But I do know it was Yamanaka fighting Luis Nery. And after the fight, he wound up, they used the same argument that, that it came from tainted meat, right? We got Tyson Fury, who for some reason was eating bull nuts and had, tested positive because of that. I don't know what to make of it, man. I don't know what to make of it. But I do believe that if you test positive for something, there needs to be more than likely it's going to be some ramification. And that more than likely is going to be behind the scenes with, I would suspect, with Gennady Golovkin saying, I need a little bit more of that change for this fight. All right? Get popped dirty, give something up. I won't make a big deal about it, and we can move it on, keep it popping. But, we'll see what happens, man. He'll continue to get tested. And, the fight's going to go on because that's a whole lot of money on the table for that fight. And, it is what it is. I'm sure people on the Gennady Golovkin side, or, you got Abel Sanchez probably going to jump out there and talk about, this, that, and the other thing. Might be using as excuse when Canelo Alvarez beats Gennady Golovkin in their rematch. And it's not often that I say, win. But I can't see Gennady Golovkin winning this fight for a series of reasons. Not the least being that I think Canelo Alvarez is the better boxer. Whether or not it's Canelo Alvarez has been on performance-enhancing drugs in the fight before with Gennady Golovkin, it didn't appear so, seeing as he looked like he had some type of stamina issues. And if he was, I don't know what clenbuterol does, definitely not an expert on performance-enhancing drugs, performance-enhancing drug masking agents and what have you. But, nowadays, man, I wouldn't doubt that anybody's on anything, man. You know what I mean? Anybody can be on anything, and you just got to take it like it is. Hopefully, he can get through, the rest of the testing protocols or whatever without any issues, and the fight can be on. But, at the same time, I don't really care about this fight with Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin, to tell you the truth. I'm not the biggest fan of Golden Boy Promotions at all. I'm not big, I'm definitely not a fan of Abel Sanchez right about now, and Tom Loeffler with all that corniness they pulled, with all that talk about black fighters not being able to sell, right? And then, of course, there's, the email controversy with Golden Boy. So honestly, man, both sides of this fight, are kind of foul for me. I like Canelo Alvarez as a fighter and what he's able to do in the ring and what I see from him in those ropes. I think Canelo Alvarez is an excellent fighter, clearly dedicated to his craft. I think he's a top-notch fighter. But that's about as far as it goes for this fight. We'll see what happens if there, what happens when a guy gets tested positive well before the fight starts, right? I guess they can agree that they'll just continue to follow the protocol, and as long as he doesn't pop dirty again, he gets to fight. Is this a situation where if somebody tests positive in between and there's no fight coming up, that they should be stripped, right? And but then again, Canelo Alvarez doesn't have a belt right now, so you can't even strip him, right? Anyway, man, I might later on try to figure out exactly what the deal would be with if it was Gennady Golovkin and a champion who was holding a belt at the time. What would happen to him if he tested positive? But like I said, man, I wasn't terribly excited for the first Canelo Alvarez Gennady Golovkin fight, because I just am not a fan of Oscar De La Hoya. I felt like they were pretty much trying to catch Gennady Golovkin, when he was on his way down, and that he, on his way down as far as, getting to be an older fighter. And Canelo Alvarez is still a young dude who's getting better as time goes on. And I felt like it was careful matchmaking and, selective timing for Canelo and and Oscar De La Hoya to take the fight in the first place. So now here we are again. We had a controversial decision with the draw, and they're running it back. I want to see what's going to go on with the Charlos. I want to see what's going to go on with Demetrius Andrade, Billy Joe Saunders, Charlo, Billy Joe Saunders, Demetrius Andrade, what's going to Daniel Jacobs, what's going to happen with those guys in the welterweight in the 160-pound division. And like I said in most of my videos right now, man, I'm looking towards seeing what kind of unification can take place in the 160-pound division. At the end of this whole testing positive for clenbuterol is going to be swept up underneath the rug, and Canelo Alvarez is going to be back out there fighting. So, at the end of the day, man, it is much ado about nothing, as far as what's going to actually go on as a result of this. Now, on to the other part of this, man, which is Adrian Broner. When I was, honestly, man, this is a video I was going to do. I'm not going to break the video up. I'm just going to, if you guys want to stick through with it, now that I've changed subjects to the end, that's all good. If you want to catch up in a live stream and I can tell you about the Adrian Broner, what was going on there, that's understood as well. But that was the original purpose of this video. It's just my phone blew up and subscribers were telling me about it, asked me if I'd heard about it. So, I'm going to do it, what they're asking for, and, give a comment about it and give a follow-up on it, even though I'm sure that there's a lot of boxing channels already that probably have already addressed it. But as to Adrian Broner, there's an article that came out, with Ryan Burton today. Adrian Broner was originally scheduled to face Omar Figueroa April 21st at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. The fight was announced in January when Showtime held a press conference to announce most of their slates of fight for the first half of 2018. The fight had problems early from the get-go as Broner was arrested last month for allegedly groping a woman at a mall in Atlanta. Shortly thereafter, Figueroa was arrested for allegedly driving while intoxicated. Neither of the incidents were likely going to cause the show to be canceled, but Figueroa injured his rotator cuff and pulled out of the fight last week, which left several event organizers scrambling to find a new opponent for Broner. Boxing Scene had been advised from multiple sources that the former two-division champion Jesse Vargas, 28-2, will step in to face Figueroa to replace Figueroa. Broner Figueroa was scheduled to take place at the super lightweight limit of 140 pounds. Sources with knowledge of the fight details have advised Boxing Scene that Broner Vargas will be contested at a catchweight of 144 pounds. After campaigning as a welterweight earlier in his career, Vargas dropped down to 140 pounds where he captured his first world title and successfully defended his title twice. He moved up permanently to 147 pounds in 2015 when he faced Tim Bradley. He captured the WBO welterweight title a year later when he knocked out Saddam Ali. Vargas left his longtime promoter Top Rank last year and signed with Al Heyman. He made his Premier Boxing Champions debut in December when he faced Aaron Herrera. When he defeated Aaron Herrera by a wide margin in Lancaster, California. Broner is a former four-division champion looking to bounce back from his July points loss to Mikey Garcia. That bout was fought at the super lightweight limit, but Broner has bounced back and forth between the super lightweight and welterweight limit in recent years. In fact, this will be his second fight at a catchweight of 144 pounds. He lost a unanimous decision at the same catchweight against Sean Porter in 2015. Porter had a large lead going into the 12th round, but had to survive a knockdown to secure the victory. Jermall Charlo will face Hugo Centeno for the interim WBC middleweight title in a co-feature bout. The fight was originally scheduled to take place this past Saturday on the Deontay Wilder-Luis Ortiz undercard, but had to be rescheduled when Centeno suffered an injury in his training camp. So a couple corrections that have come out of this article is it's a rotator cuff for Omar Figueroa. If this one is right, I've heard ribs, I heard bruised ribs, I've heard of several different things about what it was that caused Omar Figueroa to pull out of the fight. Now, man, I'm going to tell you that even facing somebody like Jesse Vargas for Adrian Broner is it's a respite, man. He got let off the hook. Because I'm telling you, man, I thought that was ridiculous for him to fight Omar Figueroa. The style of Omar Figueroa is absolutely trouble for Adrian Broner. I thought that man, I was like, man, I don't even see how Adrian Broner might get knocked out. and he's never been knocked out. I don't think he's been knocked down like once. I think that was Sean maybe twice in the. I can't remember if Marcos Maidana. Hey, I got it right this time. I didn't say Lucas Matisse. Marcos Maidana. I think he might have knocked him down 1 or 2 times in their fight. I don't believe that. I know that Mikey Garcia didn't knock him down, and neither did Sean Porter. But I do believe, man, that Omar Figueroa, man, that was going to be a bad matchup for him. And I thought for sure he was biting off more than he can chew. Now with Jesse Vargas, I think is like my man Coach Gillespie in the comment section of the live stream said, I agree with Coach Gillespie that that Vargas is a better boxer than Omar Figueroa. Oh, than Adrian Granados. That was the comparison I made. I thought that this should be an easier fight or a less dangerous fight for Adrian Broner than Adrian Granados was. And while Adrian Granados is strong and really aggressive and was causing Adrian Broner problems, I do believe that Adrian Broner deserved that decision against Adrian Granados. But I thought that the fight with Vargas might be an easier fight for Broner with Vargas is better than Adrian Granados. Vargas is a good puncher. I mean, he's a good boxer, but he's not a volume puncher from what I can recall. He's not somebody that is, I don't think that he's as good a boxer, as well-rounded a boxer with as many variations and, I don't think he's of the same skill level as Mikey Garcia. Speaking of Vargas, so this might be an opportunity for Adrian Broner to get on a winning track against a guy that is a good fighter. That said, I do not favor Adrian Broner to beat Jesse Vargas. I do not favor him to win. I might call it a 50-50 fight, or a slight advantage for Jesse Vargas. Jesse Vargas, like I said, I'm telling you, man, one of the biggest problems for Adrian Broner is that the book is out on how he was fighting before. People knew what to go about, have a game plan to beat Adrian Broner. Like Floyd Mayweather Jr. used to say, man, you can plan. There is no blueprint on Floyd Mayweather Jr. because nobody's ever beaten Floyd Mayweather Jr. So there's no blueprint. That cannot be said. The same cannot be said of Adrian Broner. There is a blueprint for beating Adrian Broner. It's been utilized multiple times. So you can expect that Jesse Vargas is going to come in with that same blueprint and try to execute it. The chance for Adrian Broner is, and the hope for Adrian Broner in this particular fight for me is that he really is with a new team. He's down in, I think it's Key West, Florida, with Kevin Cunningham, and he's got a top-notch, world-class situation that he's training in. And I know there's a lot of people that are not going to believe Adrian Broner's got a shot. They're going to, reasonably so, for what he does, the nonsense he does outside the ring, his propensity to get arrested and have court dates pending, right? But if you want to look for, and I'm looking for the positive side of this. The most positive thing about Adrian Broner going on right now is the fact that he's in the camp with Gervonta Davis, and if he's sparring with Gervonta Davis, he's sparring with a smaller guy, but a guy that is a whirlwind, a guy that is going to come with him and is going to be able to throw a lot of punches. He's training with guys that are world-class guys. He can train. He's training down there. What's my man's available for him? Devin Alexander trains with Kevin Cunningham. Kevin Cunningham has he did a job with a fighter back in the day. Most older, fight fans that remember, the early 2000s are going to remember Corey Spinks. And Corey Spinks was a guy that didn't have a lot of power, but Kevin Cunningham, man, had him in a situation where, and I believe he's Leon. Is he Leon Spinks' son? I think Corey Spinks is Leon Spinks' son. I know it's not Michael Spinks' son, but he's of the Spinks family, of the gold medal winning brothers. Both brothers were heavyweight champions. Leon Spinks was the first one to get it against Muhammad Ali. Michael Spinks was really wound up being the best fighter the better of the fighters, and really for a minute there, he was the first guy to beat Larry Holmes, and he held that belt for a minute, and he was the man at heavyweight until Mike Tyson got there, right? So he was the kind of the glue in the heavyweight division between Larry Holmes and Mike Tyson in the mid to late 80s. So, but he had Kevin Cunningham was the guy that coached Corey Spinks, who had those really good fights with Zab Judah. And I'm telling you, man, Corey Spinks was not a puncher, but he was a very, very slick fighter, and he always came in with a good game plan and knew how to go about getting the wins. Same thing I would say about Devin Alexander, not the hardest puncher in the world, but somebody that knows how to fight, knows how to, has a solid game plan going into the fight. So what I'm hoping for Adrian Broner is that if Adrian Broner, and I do believe Adrian Broner is a very bright guy, if he's able to take and execute a game, listen to a game plan that Kevin Cunningham gives him, execute that game plan. He has the ability to beat Vargas. He's got the athletic ability. He's got the punching power. He's got the ring experience to do it. It's just whether or not he's going to be able to execute and stick with a game plan. And so I'm looking forward to that. And with that, I'm out. Peace.